It is. I really do enjoy questions and the opportunity. I really enjoy webinars because they're live. And you had mentioned that I had a product that's out there. Granted it's 102 videos and whatever it may be, a million scripted words, but it's scripted, and there's a lot of value and merit into that. But I really enjoy webinars because I'm not following that script. It's just free flow, and the interaction. We really get the opportunity to really nail down to specific challenges that people are dealing with. From time to time, we'll even look at specific prospects and clients. But on that note, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. And before we get into it, talk a little bit about what qualifies me to be in this position to be providing this education. And today, when you walk away, I've only got 45 minutes to an hour to present some material. We've got about 90 minutes for the entire webinar, and we want to leave some time for some questions. So having said that, I'm really bringing in almost 20 years of my experience in education, and more so in the last 6 years of running a local internet marketing agency. And I've built that business off of all of my skills in the past, whether it's my past experience in previous work life or education. And then finally, in the last 6 years of actually running this business, we've got over 150 clients located mostly in the United States, but we've got clients in other countries as well. And these are local businesses that have been traditional brick and mortars at some point in time, and I've recognized that their customers can possibly find them online. And we know that, for example, in the United States, by the end of this year, 50% of Americans are going to have smartphones. The Yellow Page Association just changed their name to the Local Search Association. ComScore released a report last year that said 97% of consumers that are online utilize the internet to research local products and services for consumer intent. 97% of people. 82% of Americans have access to broadband, and most developing countries follow these statistics. So the fact of the matter is right now there's 23 million businesses in the United States alone that have 40% of their customers that are looking for their service on this behemoth of the internet. And they can be looking through channels, whether it be mobile channels, or getting recommendations from social channels, or doing searches within the search engines. Now, I have an agency that we cater to Yeah, I'm gonna get to the presentation in a moment. I'm just trying to establish as to yeah, we're not um, when you don't have a script, you tend to digress a little bit. Um, as long as there's no technical problems, that's typically where you go, oh geez, you're running so much. It is. So today I really hope to accomplish with everybody on the line to be able to share some of these skills and some of these strategies that we've developed and worked to be able to acquire local businesses. And we're here because of the Internet Marketing Club. And that term, Internet Marketing, is so broad. That umbrella is so big of all the different ways that somebody can be an internet marketer. And yeah, for example, I've got a product that I sell online, but I'm not an online marketer. I'm not the one out promoting that and building these product launches and all that jazz. And I'm not that expert. I know the process and whatnot, but what I do know is how to get a local business found in the search, whether it be local or organic. And if you go and Google internet marketing for small business, or small business internet marketing, or local internet marketing, you're going to find me #1 in Google across the planet, some cases maybe #2. But the fact is I'm competing in many different ways against hundreds and hundreds of different internet marketers, and we're talking local businesses here. And the one thing about internet marketing people feel is that they can hide behind a computer. But when we're a consultant and we're going out there, most of our clients are not online. So we can't just resort to online channels to be able to win this business. And sales has been around for decades. And so we're going to share how some of these principles in sales can apply to the process of acquiring business. Anyhow, let's move on. So let's take a look at the sale process here. And the first thing we're going to talk about is selecting certain markets that are important for this. Which local businesses that you can go out and target that are going to yield you a decent return on your investment. Ones that aren't going to give you $200 a month, but those companies that are going to give you $1,000 a month. And then we're going to talk about how to approach these particular leads once we've identified which leads. What are the different ways? Is it best just to do some door knocking? Is it best to do cold calling? Is it best to buy an email list and send that out? One of the biggest challenges that we face in this business is that the majority of our prospects have a sour taste of what internet marketing can do for their local business. So we've got to provide education in different ways to be able to educate prospects on, one, the opportunity, because a lot of them don't even recognize the opportunity, and two, on our process. We're not here to manipulate the search engines. A lot of internet marketers are. But I didn't get to number one, and I don't get my clients to number one and stay at number one because I'm a search engine optimizer and I manipulate the results. I'm an internet marketer and I provide good marketing to my clients, and we'll talk about that in terms of education. And then in the orange box, we go for the close. And during the close, we provide a proposal, and there's certain aspects within a proposal in the closing stage that are important to know. We also, prior to that, in the blue box, we provide an analysis to our prospects. And during the analysis, I'm going to talk about something called the SEO sales trail. This ultimately, in the sale process, anybody that's ever been in business-to-business sales, there's 3 meetings. We have an initial meeting, presentation meeting, and closing meeting. This would be your presentation meeting. And during that presentation meeting, we're going to create something called pain in the prospect. The way we create pain in the prospect is to show them that A, they're spending a lot of money in other areas of marketing, quite possibly. B, their competition is vastly outperforming them on the internet exposure. And C, we're going to show them with certain tools like the Google keyword tool that people are actually looking for their service on the internet. So there is this business on the internet, they're not showing up, their prospect is taking it, they're going to get a little pissed off. That creates pain. We relieve that pain with our proposal. And then finally, with the follow-up process, there are 3 ways to increase your business. Number 1, get new customers. Number 2, increase customer spend. Number 3, increase customer spend frequency. So with that follow-up, we are looking at different ways to generate upsell, cross-sale, and referral sales. Fortunately, we're not going to have time to cover all of this in depth. Today we're talking about lead acquisition and client acquisition. So first, selecting your target market. And the fact is, guys, is you're offering a service to these local businesses that are going to outperform any of their other traditional marketing means, period. Hands down. There's no other method that gives you a higher or a greater return on investment than internet marketing. And in fact, under the internet marketing umbrella, email marketing is going to give your local business the highest return on investment. And there's studies put out by Kelsey that show there is a $48 return for every dollar spent on email marketing. But local businesses really have 3 options when it comes to deciding whether or not they want to embark in this internet marketing world. And they could either learn the services themselves, they can hire somebody, or they can do nothing about it. And anytime you're in a business-to-business sales position, that's, they're either going to buy from you, buy from a competitor, or do nothing about it. And in this case here, they have the option of learning it themselves. They do that, it's possible. But pizza delivery company is in the business of creating pizzas and delivering pizzas. They'll hire the people to properly market them. Now, there's a lot that business owners really need to particularly understand is the implications of these options to them. Well, how long does it take to learn internet marketing? How long has your education curve been? And then the more businesses that you work with and you start to uncover their needs based on their audience, create the content and distribute that content on the internet, how does your efficiency increase? So the implication for a business to learn the services themselves is they're really putting the brakes on the growth of what they're trying to accomplish. Obviously, if they postpone the investment, there's even greater implications. If they hire a professional, we're going to look at things, for example, in the transportation industry that I operate in. I know my clients operate at a 6 to 10% margin. On that margin rate, I'm asking for, let's say, $1,000 a month. I have a 6-month contract. I'm looking for a $6,000 investment for something they can't touch and feel, for something that they're not going to get results for 3 to 6 months before they see the return on investment. And I'm not giving them a guarantee on results. So I'm asking for a significant investment for not a heck of a lot in return that they can get for a while. And if they're getting a 10% margin, I need to generate $60,000 in new business for them over a 6-month period before they recognize their return on investment. Can I do that? Well, heck yeah. I mean, when we have clients that are landing $1.4 million contracts, and we have a new business that starts out in its first year of operation, did 51,000 deliveries. It did $1.1 million in sales. That company is called Naparex.com. I'm fortunate enough to be a part owner of that organization. But just to demonstrate what a local business can accomplish in terms of return on investment, 51,000 deliveries found on the internet from internet marketing services. Understand, and prospects need to understand why you're going to give them education. We're going to talk about this education in a moment and how to properly educate them. And we're going to be looking at, in a moment here, a slide that's going to give us different niches that we may want to go after. But essentially, service-based companies are very lucrative. Prospects that have customers that have high customer value. So a chiropractor, for example, is $40 a visit. But the average chiropractic patient comes and visits every 2 weeks and has a retention of over 2 years. So a patient value for at least my chiropractor that follows those numbers is 40 times 26 weeks in a year times 2 years. That's a significant patient value in the thousands of dollars. And we've got to look at that. Or businesses that have different spending patterns or reoccurring spending patterns. We're looking for businesses that serve a local community. They vary in size. We can segment our potential audience off of volume, whether a business is doing $1 million a year or more. But now taking a look at some of these industries. You know, a whole variety of the trades, the different maintenance services, home improvements, professional services like realtors, attorneys, legals, financial, cosmetics like dentists, wellness industry like chiropractors, tax preparation, private schools, the medical industry, at least in the United States, where here medicine is a business. Healthcare professionals, cosmetics. That industry last year, the Botox industry, increased by 2% in the greatest recession in the United States. It increased. People spent more money. There was less money. Mind you, that kind of is in alignment with my arguments for this downed economy. Are we really in a downed economy? Well, the money doesn't disappear. It's just changing hands. I own 3 businesses, and all 3 businesses have grown every single year over the last 2 years of this so-called downed economy. Sorry. I hope all the entrepreneurs on the line right now follow the same mentality, because typically entrepreneurs do. And, you know, there's a great expression I heard a couple of days ago, and I love it. And it says, let me try to remember this. If you laugh, the world will laugh with you. If you cry, you cry alone. And that made me think about negative and positive mental attitudes. And that the stronger my mentality is, the more positive an attitude I have. When I look at certain challenges in life and don't call them problems, but recognize them as challenges and opportunities, things change. People around me change. My whole life changes. I'm always on the up. I'm not sitting there complaining and blaming. While I may have done that in the past, I assure you, a decade of a positive mental attitude is pretty powerful. All right, I digress. So let's take a look at some different ways to approach these leads once you've chosen a particular target niche or several target niches. But you've got to recognize that you're not there to sell people. You're there to build and nurture relationships, friendships. You know, I have an expression, and pardon my language on this, but we all make the same face on the shitter. So whether you're a salesperson selling gadgets or you're Mark Zuckerberg, you're just another person. You know, we all have problems. Anybody that's got money or money that you want to take out of somebody's pockets, they all have the same issues and challenges, and they're running a business, and they respect people like you that are starting out, that are aggressive and hungry. You want to build those relationships. And people want to build relationships when they have value. You know, give and you shall receive. Give. What can you do for these people? How can you give them? Give them unbiased education. Not biased education to buy your services, but just education that they need internet marketing. Of course they need it. They just don't know it yet. And when they do recognize that they need it, you're going to be a very strong contender. And when you're building this business, you want to identify and create different systems to attract the right audience, the right people. Don't spin your tires and trying to go after everyone. Ever. Ever. At the end of this presentation, I've got a system that I've put together, and I'm going to show it to you. I've never shown it to anybody. It's very straightforward. But I'm now calling it, and maybe I may change it next week, I don't know, but I'm calling it my 90-day $10,000 challenge. I'm convinced that somebody starting out today, within 90 days, can have well over $10,000 a month in recurring revenue coming into their agency, making a 40%, 30 to 40% profit margin. That will replace 90% of anybody in the United States' full-time income. And this is no hype. This is no, well, you go and, you know, your six-figure, you know, riches to freedom. No, man, this is hard work. And this is starting out a business, but I'm going to show you, based off of 20 years of sales, of how many prospects you need, how to approach those prospects. But let's move on. So some of the best online methods to generate leads are, you know, email marketing. But the problem with email marketing is you already got to have a good, qualified, attentive email list. A lot of people don't have that. It's great, Scott. That's not going to help me. Search engine marketing. Well, yeah, I want to be found. I want my agency to be found in the local searches and the organic searches, but that takes time. That takes months. Social media marketing is the same thing. It takes a lot of time to be able to build your network. These three channels and the online channels are really good channels to be able to grow your agency. But they take months to be able to set up. Once they're set up, though, folks, it's awesome. We still got to go old school. And you want clients in the next 30 days? Network. Get out there and meet people. Like, go to the local chamber of commerce. There's a ton of local business networking groups. The Chamber of Commerce has evening, well, they have lunch and learns, and, you know, after hours mixers, and, you know, the local college has different things going on. In this day and age, you know, maybe the local hotels are having stuff. There's so many different ways that you can engage where groups of business owners are. And just go there and start chewing the fat with people. Advertisements. Yeah, yellow pages. No, don't go out and buy a yellow page ad. Go out and look at who's spending money on yellow pages. And then find a disconnect with their online initiative. I'm going to get into that in a little bit as well. And I don't care who you talk to, but the scariest way to go and get new business is cold calling. But it works. Still works. I'm not talking about somebody picking up the phone and following a little 3-minute canned script with no tonality and no, I'd like to sell you, blah, blah, blah. No. Heck, get in your car, drive to your local chiropractor after you've done a little bit of research on that chiropractor. Recognize that they're spending $1,500 a month on a yellow page ad, and they are not being found for Algonquin chiropractor in Google. And walk in there and say, listen, dude, I want the opportunity to speak with you for 15 minutes. All I want is 15 minutes of your time. And during this time, I want the opportunity to show you what I've already discovered. That you're leaving a lot of money on the table. You've got so-and-so chiropractor and so-and-so chiropractor that are beating you in the SERPs. I already know that you're spending a ton of money in Yellow Pages because here's the ad that I ripped out that you're paying for. And during this 15 minutes, I just want to show you the opportunities that you're missing. And if you want a proposal after that, great. But that's not how I want to earn your business, by following up with you and chasing after a proposal. If you want to buy, you'll follow up with me. Now, for all you guys that are on the line right now, do you think that that might earn you the right to a 15-minute meeting with them? Once you have a 15-minute meeting with them, your goal is to earn the right to a proposal. But cold calling works. Another way that cold calling works, and doing offline method that's not on here, I think I do talk about it in a moment, is a seminar, a local seminar. You can, have it in your office or go and rent, a little conference room. You can even get the conference room donated in the past. Have food donated. Invite people. Become a member of the local Chamber of Commerce. Call up, because you now have the list of all the members. Call up each member individually. Cold call each member. And say, listen, as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to invite you to my free seminar. It's going to be 1 hour. We're going to feed you and water you, and we're going to give you some education on how you can get your business to #1 in Google for free. Once they start to learn about how much effort it really takes, they're probably going to want to hire somebody. So let's look a little bit deeper on how we can find some of these sources. I talked about the local Chamber of Commerce, but what if you're niche based and you're specifically in one industry and you're on a national front? Go to trade shows. They cost a couple of grand to enter. You can get a booth for $1,500. You're at a $3,500 investment. Well, that's less than one client. I mean, if you're going to get $1,000 a month per client and you want them for a minimum of 6 months, there's $6,000 right there. But we're going to look at how to generate $14,000 a month in recurring revenue inside of 90 days. And most industries that you're in, there's not going to be other internet marketers that have booths there. The local chamber, I was already talking about that, so I'll move on a little bit. They're very cheap, by the way, like $20 a month. Sometimes they're a little more than that. Talked about cold calling a little bit. You can either pick up the phone and invite people to a free seminar, or be prepared, sharpen your axe. Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest presidents of the United States, he said, if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. It's one of my favorite quotes, because that's what I try to do in business every day. So if I'm going to walk into a prospect, I'm going to be prepared. I'm not going for volume. I'm not going for 300 business cards in one day. I'm going to skip over this right now because, like I said at the end, I've got a strategy. I talked about the yellow pages and finding leads in yellow pages. You want to look for ads that are larger than average for that particular industry, typically a 1/4 page ad or greater. You want to find ads and then compare them those businesses to their online exposure in different searches like Google Places and Yelp. And then once you found a disconnect between their online and offline practices, target that prospect. That is low-hanging fruit, my friends. That is the best fruit to pick. Same thing with local publications. It doesn't matter where you are. Well, I come from a small town in northern Ontario, and we had local publications. Advertisers tend to pay for these these publications. Well, you go and look at these advertisers. You'll go and sit down at certain restaurants, and they're going to have little books for you. There's still restaurants that are old school and have ads on their tables or their mugs. And you go and look at businesses, and you try to identify businesses that have a strong offline marketing strategy. And when you can find businesses that have a strong offline marketing strategy and are weak in the online world, that's low-hanging fruit. And I promise you, folks, this statistic is factual, that 15% of local businesses, 15% of that 23 million are actively pursuing internet marketing strategies. That means 85% aren't. But a majority of businesses have active offline strategies. So that's the opportunity right now. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit. Now, when we're educating prospects, we've got different ways that we can build channels to educate prospects. I have something called reports. Well, we give a brandable report in my course that you can put your name on it and give it to prospects, or you can go ahead and write your own. Workshops and seminars. Well, in a moment, I'm going to give you a link to be able to see a video of the workshops I've done. In my product, you get the templates, PowerPoints with that. Webinars, to what we're doing right now. Once you build a list, do webinars. Different social media. Make sure you've got Twitter and whatnot. People are following on it. And an email marketing. Email marketing is hands down my best resource to generate leads once I've built a list. I hit a button, boom, I got a whole bunch of assessments. Some of those assessments are going to close. So there's a link there that you see for my agency workshop video. It's just bit.ly/CCS seminar. Go check it out. No opt-in. Just go and watch it. It's cheesy, but it gets the job done. Talking about the SEO sales trail. Well, all the SEO sales trail really is a it's a solution selling approach. So it's a process that I've developed for selling search engine optimization related services. It's education-based solution selling. In fact, anybody that's ever heard of the Jeff Walker product launch formula, I've developed an evergreen lead generation assessment launch utilizing the product launch formula. By building the different online and offline channels and creating the sales funnel of leads continually coming into the sales funnel, we're able to send them through our evergreen sales funnel that provides education on a timed facet through videos and pre-recorded webinars. And as they click, they contact us. We're able to execute that. But anyhow, solution selling identifies a problem and how to put you as the solution to that problem. So we focus on solution selling is a term, well, it's a copyrighted term, and you may have heard it as consultative sales in the past. There's a lot of different terms that are out there in terms to what solution selling ultimately is. But at the end of the day, you're focusing on a pain, and you're solving that pain with your products or services. And you get the buyer to agree with you as the seller as your position by asking different questions and providing different implications to the alternatives that you present. Now, The SEO sales trail at a really high level here has got 3 stages: pain creation, wound agitation, and providing relief. During the pain creation stage, what we do is we demonstrate and we show the prospect that they have business on the internet. And we prove to them that the competition is actually beating them on the internet. This creates an element of pain and frustration within the prospect. We then throw a little bit of salt on that wound, and we show them that we give them reasons why their competition is beating them on the internet. We prove to them that there's a lack of online exposure. And we do this through different reports that we're going to generate. One called a competitive ranking report, another one called a link popularity report. I'm going to talk about those reports in a moment. And then we solve their problem. We provide relief. Of course, it's different depending on their situation. But this is going to be their solution, their proposal. How are we going to solve this? How long is it going to take to get them to number 1? How much exposure are they going to need? What is it going to cost them? What type of guarantee can they get? Can they get a guarantee? Now, during the assessment process, once you've earned the right to getting the assessment with the prospect to be able to show them, this here is just a really quick overview of preparing yourself for that assessment and just getting ready for it. The different reports. This is a template that we use. I'm actually showing you right now the information sheet for my personal dentist, who's also a client. And during, here's the 6 steps. And during the research stage, we're identifying, you can see there's a list of keywords. There's a keyword list. Well, that's 5 keywords. We're not doing keyword research here, folks. We're not going out and doing all the extensive process of what we're doing. Our objective to get keywords is fairly simple. It's to find out their number 1 keywords and where they lie. You got to get a little creative with it. You're finding keywords out that their competition is outranking them. And you're looking for keywords that you can prove are being used a lot. Don't just pull keywords out at random. Make sure that when you sit down in front of the prospect and you show them a keyword, Google's keyword tool, that Palatine dentist has got a lot of searches, or it has search numbers. Your competitor list, obviously you're pulling out the top competitors that are outranking them. You want to agitate that wound. And in this case here, we also threw in the keyword for Dr. Palak. That was the doctor's name. It just so happened when we first Googled that the very first time, she wasn't found on the front 3 pages of Google. And it was all, her website wasn't coming up for Dr. Palak. You know, her company name is Total Dentistry, but the doctor's name is Palak. Sometimes people are going to search for Palak. Well, you'd want the company name website to come up. So with those steps, we developed different reports. One called the optimization report. At our agency, we use a product called WebCEO to generate this report. Most SEO software will generate a report. Most SEO software is not designed to help you in the sale process. And I don't use SEO software for the SEO process at all. I only use WebCEO for the sale. Even though it wasn't designed for that. So I developed something called an optimization report. That report is quote unquote supposed to help an internet marketer to optimize that page. Well, it just looks good for the prospect. It does give some pointers on how to help, but they're the most obvious pointers, like we need an H1 tag with keywords in it. We need a title tag with keywords in it and that it's a compelling keyword and it reads well. Your keyword density is only 2.7%. Well, I don't care about keyword density. I don't follow those things in SEO. I mean, I have 9 on the page factors that I follow, and that's it. I teach 100 different factors, but I only spend my time on 9. I don't care about keyword density. Why? Because I don't chase the algorithm. Do my methods work? Well, look at the keywords I'm ranking number 1 for. Then we give them a ranking report. It's a nice, pretty report that shows them, for this keyword, you're number 7. You're number 15. You're not even on the front page. Why? Because you don't have enough links or citations to your website, Mr. Prospect. So then you give them a link and citation popularity report. Look at your competitor has got 427 links to them, and they have 3,700 pages that have citations. You've got 3 links and 27 pages. I put a star beside site quality report. That's a specific report inside Web CEO. It just gives more details and steps on how they could potentially improve their site. We don't use it in our process anymore, but it's helped. I thought I'd give it a mention. And then once you've got this information, step number 6, you prepare the website assessment template. And just as a reminder, once we do get the meeting with these people, our goal is to get in there and create the pain, agitate the wound, and then provide relief. How am I doing for time here? Okay. Well, we'll be good. I'm getting through this quickly, but we'll be good here. I've got about another 9 minutes. This is what I threw together, and I didn't throw it together. It's a process that's well. Let's get into it. Obviously, I've never talked about this before, so yeah. How do you position? Marketing is basically comprised of 5 P's: product, price, placement, packaging, promotion. And packaging is either positioning or packaging. And most people think that marketing is just advertisements. And positioning is so key in marketing. It's just the more I learn, and 20 years on this curve, I'm still learning as the power of positioning in so many different ways. And when people are starting out, how are they going to start their business? And I'm just trying to get everybody, and what do I want to be? And there's such a mindset of positioning around that as well, that we create a particular environment of what we've got going on. And okay, I digress, and my mind is wandering a little bit. And I was watching American Chopper last night, and the dynamics of those two businesses are so neat. How Paul Sr. and Paul Jr.'s businesses are changing, and Paul Sr. is downsizing now. He's going from a 94,000 square foot warehouse or shop to 70,000, and Paul Jr. is just growing up like mad that they're looking for new space. And last night's bike was about this World of Warcraft bike, and this bike that he's building is just literally, it's ridiculously over the top. It's so sick. And I sit there and I was watching this show, and when he was creating this World of Warcraft bike, they got all this promotional material from this software development company that they posted it all around them. And it was, hey, we're just looking for, what was the words he was using? Anyhow, they were looking for inspiration, and just keeping themselves into that environment. Well, I'm telling you this story because you just look at these two companies. There's going to be a point in time that I agree. Yeah, I know it's all reality. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. But Junior's he's a smart guy. He's a humbling individual. He's very, very good at what he does. He's not an ass like his father. And at the end of the day, that's really predicating a lot of his growth. But he's also got the mindset to create the environment and continue to have a positive mental attitude. And you see all of this. And I want to share that with you because your environments and your business of whatever you're doing, it all comes back to this world of marketing, this umbrella of positioning that I was talking about, and how you're going to position yourself, or how you position. Even I'm showing you this 90-day 10K challenge, whatever, and I'm positioning it. I started out on the wrong foot. I stumbled a little bit. Well, that's a matter of positioning. Sorry. Um, I could reposition this and say that, this has been put together of 20 years of knowledge, of understanding numbers. We're going to look at fundamental sale process and knowing things. But let's get right into it. It's really simple. And go ahead, and if you're starting out and you're new, and if I were to do this all over again, this is exactly what I would do in my first 90 days to be able to get business. I get asked that question all the time. Well, I'm trying to pull the curtains back and just get as raw as possible and figure out 6 specific niches in a 20 or a 30 mile radius of where you're at. I would probably pick, the wellness industry and go after chiropractors and massage therapists and acupuncturists. Somewhere into that vertical. Or you can go after the trades and pick electricians and plumbers. So find 6 potential niches that you want to go after. And in those, do research. Pick up the yellow pages. Go do some searches on Google, whatever. identify that we were talking about 10 lucrative low-hanging prospects for each of those 6 niches. Put them into an Excel sheet. Put notes in for each of these. And you now have a prospect list that has an online and an offline disconnect of what we were talking about. And you've got 60 people to work with. Not a very big list. You want to work that list now. How are you going to work that list? Well, we talked about different ways that you can contact the prospect. Me personally, I'd probably drive in to each one of these 60 places over the course of 3 or 4 days. And my goal with each time that I would meet with each one of these people is not to sell them on a single thing. It's just to earn a right to a 15-minute assessment meeting. That's all I want with them. Now, granted, you're going to go over 15 minutes, but at the 15-minute mark, you look at your watch and you say, I've hit my 15 minutes. Start to pack your stuff up. Well, they're not going to let you leave because that's usually the time before you provide relief, if you time it well. But your goal with these 60 prospects is just to earn the right to a 15-minute meeting, and that's it. And tell them that you're only going to do business with 2 or 3 clients in that niche. But you're meeting with 10 prospects. You've picked out the 10 lowest hanging fruit prospects. You're meeting with 10 people. You're only going to do business with 2 or 3 of them. So of those 60 prospects, rule of thumb is the average salesperson should get 20 meetings out of that. You should get at least 20 meetings out of that. I would expect 40 meetings out of myself. Hands down. Not because I'm cocky, but because I understand the process. And I've got the experience and the confidence. But you should expect at least 20. And when you provide the assessment, you follow the SEO sales trail. We didn't really get into the SEO sales trail. I mean, I've got 2 hours of training on that alone and supporting material. And then you send them a proposal. You can go ahead and create a proposal yourself or get the proposal templates. And out of 20 meetings, you should expect 1/3 of the people to want proposals. As a minimum, I would expect more out of myself. I would expect 60%. But if you can walk into this expecting 30%, you're going to send out at least 7 proposals. Then you go for the close. Again, it's 1/3. This is standard numbers, folks. 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. You take your prospects, 1/3 should come to a meeting. Of your meetings, 1/3 should go to a close. Of your of the closing process, 1/3 of those should ultimately close. So you should get maybe 3 clients out of this. Time in and time in again, these numbers are solid numbers. This is just the average salesperson. This is not your top 20% of salespeople that they kill these numbers. And if you could tweak these percentages at each stage, just think of what the results are going to be. This is 2 weeks worth of work. Less than 2 weeks worth of work. Because you're going to get anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 per month per client. You do this 3 times, once per month, for 3 months, for 90 days. And you do the math. At these numbers here, this is going to get you almost $15,000 a month in recurring revenue. Your business model should give you anywhere from 30 to 50% margins. Guys, that's like $4,000 to $7,000 a month in disposable income. Me, I'd choose to put half of that right back into my business. That's a pretty nice business model. 35 extra $100 to be thrown into a startup business on top of that, paying for a full-time income and having all your expenses covered. And these percentages that I'm giving you, you can pick up any sales book on the planet. Not anyone of 95% of sales books on the planet, whatever. And they're gonna follow these same numbers. This is standard. I want to drive that fact. Before we get into questions, folks, I just want to take a minute here just to tell you a little bit about the program that I do have available. It's provided to you by Local Marketing Source. I am the creator of the product. And it's a complete course. It's a blueprint. Essentially, I've got my business, plain and simple. And we've got, I mean, when I started out, I had a laptop and a kitchen table. And I tell this story all the time. I'd take off my sales hat and go put on my marketing hat, take that off, go put on my operational hat, and then I would spend the time documenting everything I did. I come from the corporate world, guys, and I've got a marketing degree. I'm very detailed about all that fluffier stuff, you know, all that extra stuff that they teach us in school to be able to do certain things. And in the corporate world, if they overpay to be able to get certain red tape done. Well, I know that a lot of that stuff's important. So when I started my business out, even though it was just me, I had an organization chart with all these different positions in it. Just every position had my name in it. And as my company grew and I got more money, I'd scratch off my name and put in somebody else as the person I hired. I also knew that systems and processes were very important for my company, but the problem in 2005 when I started out was that nobody was teaching local internet marketing. I had a hard enough time trying to get education on search engine optimization, and how the hell am I going to apply this to a local business? I had to figure this stuff out myself. So I created the systems with the outsourcing channels, documented everything over the years. As more people came in, I knew that this was used for training. I knew that this was going to be used for growth. I had no idea that it was going to be used as a training package for somebody 6 years later. And so when I first created my first program 3 years ago, I had maybe 15 of these documents in there. And I've spent the last year refining all of that stuff and getting it together into a complete business in a box. It includes over 60 management documents that we currently use in my agency today, every single day. You get all the outsourcing models, all the systems, sales channels, 102 videos, online forum, and then a full money-back guarantee. Now, I'm not asking you guys to buy anything. I want to earn business. So go check out our Facebook page. You can go and do a search for Local Marketing Source, or you can just go to the URL right there. You like that page, and I'll give you 2 free videos to learn how to optimize these businesses in Google Places. So I hope that I've given enough here to go out and get customers, and then I hope that we're given enough to deliver some of that service to customers before we even asked any exchange of a penny. In any event, this is starting to turn into a hard sale, and I'm not here for a hard sale. I really hope that I've delivered content, and I'd like to open up the floor to questions at this point in time. So I am just going to move my little question box. Sounds good. Yeah. Well, someone was asking, is it being recorded? Erica, do you want to let your audience know how they can listen to the recording? Awesome. Thanks, Erica. All right, we've got Kara. She asked a question, what's a citation? That's a good question. That's a very important piece of information for understanding local SEO. A citation is merely a web reference of a business. So when a website like CNN mentions a business name, that's a business citation. Citations are best when you have what's called your NAP, N-A-P, formatted properly. NAP stands for name, address, and phone number. So an effective citation is a business name, the business address, and the business phone number, preferably with even a link attached to it, if possible. Whether it's a follow or no follow link, it doesn't matter. A citation is a web reference. Depending on the page, for example, if CNN mentions a business, that's a pretty authoritative citation. If Angie's Bakery down the street mentions a business and a citation, that's a pretty weak citation. Local businesses are looking for links and citations, much heavier on the citation than links, unlike organic SEO. Michelle asks, what tool do you use for link and citation popularity reports? That would be Web CEO. There's a free download for Web CEO. Derek, how much time is too much and when in the free site proposal stage? And what shouldn't you tell them at this point in terms if they ask? Okay, Derek, I'm not quite clear on what you're asking. How much time is too much? And when in the free site proposal stage? And what shouldn't you tell them at this point in terms if they ask specific strategies? All right, well, I don't quite understand your first part of your question, but the second part I do have some thought and opinion on. And I think Derek's asking here, what am I going to hold back? I'm a marketer here, and I'm charging basically for the knowledge in my head. And if I'm dealing with a local prospect and they're going to ask, well, what do you do? Well, Derek's asking, what do you hold back? Dude, you're going to hear different philosophies on this all day long from different people, so take what I'm about to tell you with a real grain of salt. And I don't hold anything back. I can't hold anything back because I've got a whole course out there that I'm teaching it. I've got a whole program that I'm giving out free information that I'm trying to teach people. Even before I had that, I never wanted to hold it back. Let me tell you a little quick story. When I first started out in 2005, I was good in sales. I knew nothing about SEO, and I was a marketer, and I knew I could market these websites. My wife was a web developer, so I sold some web development, and then I wanted to market it, so I outsourced SEO 100%. It took me about 3 months to realize, without them telling me certain strategies, that this wasn't good. And as soon as they wouldn't tell me certain things, I got that bad feeling inside my stomach. I never wanted to give my customers that feeling. And the fact of the matter is when I'm deploying internet marketing services for my customers, all I'm doing is really traditional old school marketing principles in a digital front. I'm just creating positive content, whether it be video or articles, and engaging my content with a hungry audience. And the difference between local SEO and organic SEO is that local SEO, we're ranking businesses. We're not ranking websites. And businesses are people. They're centered around people. And so as the internet search world is changing and the social factors of it, really the ways that we optimize businesses for local is effective exposure, so creating the right content for the right hungry audience, exposing that audience where exposing that content where our audience resides, and then engaging in the online communities with our audience and encouraging further engagement. That's all the fluff of it. That's the high level of what local SEO is, but that's what it is. And so if they're asking me a specific strategy, I will tell them, Mr. Customer, this is what we do. We've done keyword research. We've figured out the best keywords based off of search volume count, based off of relevancy, based off of competitive nature, and based off of index count. By the way, Derek, I'm going through this real quick right now for you. I'd spend more time with a prospect, but just to demonstrate how I would literally speak to a prospect. Once we get your keywords, we go ahead and create content that's relevant for your audience. We know that your audience is A, B, and C, and they're segmented based off this profile D, E, and F. You know, they're whatever females and you know this age group or this type of buyers, whatever you want to, whatever their audience is. And one of those pieces of content that we're going to create is called articles. And then we effectively use a strategy called article marketing. We create articles, unbiased articles, centered around the theme of your business. And then we go and distribute that article to different article sites like ezinearticles.com. The bottom of that article is a bio box, Mr. Customer. And in that biography box, we give credit to your business as the author. So if you're a plumber in Chicago, we might write an article about how to avoid your pipes from freezing in cold Chicago winters. We'll then take that article and break it apart and put it into 4 or 5 slides in a PowerPoint presentation. And then read the article in voiceover while we're recording ourselves on our computer. We now have an animated video for you based off of that article. We'll go and then we'll take that video and go and categorize it and put it on your blog that we're going to install for you. It's a WordPress blog. That video is going to be distributed through about 40 different video hosting sites, including YouTube and Metacafe and Vimeo. And that's basically going to give further exposure for your video. We then take that video and go and create something called a Web 2.0 page in Squidoo. And we'll embed that video into Squidoo and utilize some new article content centered around that and feed other industry sources so that's an unbiased opinion about your industry. Well, all this trail leads back to you as the author. And so you're giving your local community value based off of education that all leads back to you. That, Mr. Prospect, is in a nutshell our basic SEO strategy. I can go, you know, go. No, I'm done. I was just gonna say, you know, to Derek, if there was, you know, wanted to peel back another layer of an onion, I would do that for my prospect as well. So, well, the link that they can see on the page right now goes to my Facebook fan page. I've also got a personal fan book or whatever, you know, Facebook fan page there. Um, they can get on our list at Local Marketing and Source as well. We do send out content on a regular basis for that. We do have a, you know, as mentioned, a product for sale, and we're not, you know, not shy about our business strategies as well. We want to earn the right to business from other people the same way that we teach them to earn the right from others. So, I'd be honored to have that opportunity. Thank you, everyone, and I really appreciate all these great comments that are popping in. You know, Melanie Reed says, you know, you did not have a hard sell. You just sound passionate. And I really want to emphasize that's really where a lot of this comes from. Is all I'm very very passionate about this. So if you reach out and talk to me in the forums, I'm happy to engage in the public community as well. Cool. All right. Bye for now. The webinar has ended.